Då förflyttar vi oss till också teknologi, fast i rymden. Vi ska prata om sakernas internet och uppkoppling av satelliter bland annat. Vi har Alastair Williamsson här från Wyld. Välkommen. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Alastair Williamsson, and I'm the CEO of Wyld Networks. So, what is Wyld Networks? Wyld Networks is a virtual satellite network operator for the Internet of Things. So we utilize low Earth orbiting satellites to connect IoT devices anywhere in the world. So if we look at, what is the problem that we're solving? So today, only 15% of the world's surface has got access to the Internet. And that 15% of the world's surface is traditionally in cities and in towns. The other 85% of the world's surface has got no access to the Internet. And that's a big problem, particularly for the Internet of Things, because by 2028, about 46 billion IoT devices, or IoT, Internet of Things devices, are going to be deployed every year. A huge quantity of those IoT devices are going to be deployed in that 85% of the world's surface where currently there's no access to the Internet. So at Wyld Networks, we've developed a solution utilizing low Earth orbiting satellites to allow our customers to connect their IoT devices and sensors anywhere in the world. So we provide 100% global connectivity for the Internet of Things. And if we look at the economics, a recent report came out that stated, if anyone can provide 100% coverage for the Internet of Things, that could potentially add $3 trillion to global GDP in the next 10 years. So what are the key market drivers? Well, there's a massive need for data. Companies are demanding the ability to connect their devices anywhere in the world and collect data from those IoT devices. And it's all about how do our customers improve their operational efficiency, and also how do they meet their sustainability goals, their environmental and sustainability goals. So if you look at the size of the market that we're addressing, so Wyld Networks' addressable market, it's about $4.3 billion by 2028. That's just the Wyld Networks portion of its addressable market. So who are we? Well, we were founded in Cambridge in 2016. We have approximately 30 people working for us in Cambridge and across the world. We listed on the Nasdaq First North in July 2021, and also on the OTCQB in the United States in May 2022. And just as an update from my last presentation, we currently have an order backlog of about 94 million krona. So that's orders we've received from customers. I always get asked questions by shareholders saying, well, fantastic order backlog, but we haven't seen any orders over the last few months. Well, our focus over the last few months is primarily been on production, on the product quality, and also, more importantly, about developing those tools, those configuration tools and installation software tools that basically will allow our customers to deploy our solution seamlessly. It's all about developing a solution that our customers out of the box can deploy into the network. So we've spent a lot of time on that aspect of the business, and we have now got to that position and moving past it, and our focus will now be on rolling out the product and also developing more business and generating more purchase orders as we move along. We've also added S-band to our product, and we intend to add 5G NB-IoT, which is going to increase our addressable market. We're now shipping product, which is great. We also announced a few months ago that we're launching Wyld Fusion as a standalone platform, and I'll get back to that in a minute. And we also announced our collaboration with SpaceX, where, SpaceX have got a satellite broadband solution. So they're providing broadband solution using satellites, but that's mainly for people. And obviously, we're now working with SpaceX to help them deploy an IoT-based solution. As you can imagine, in that 85% of the world's surface, there's a lot of people, but it's not in the billions that require internet access. But when it comes to the Internet of Things, there are billions of devices that need connectivity. So that's a real exciting program for us with SpaceX. But just to give you an idea of what does it look like, so we've developed Wyld Connect modules and terminals, and these devices connect to IoT sensors. Our terminals and modules basically collect data from those sensors, and when a satellite passes overhead, we send the data to the satellites. The satellite, as it passes over a ground station, sends that data down to a ground station and to Wyld Fusion, which is our product. And Wyld Fusion is a provisioning and device management product. It collects that data and passes that data to our customers. Our customers then use that data to make informed decisions. And then if we look at the product and the business revenue part of it, the revenue model. So as I said, we've developed Wyld Connect, which is a module that gets embedded into IoT sensors. We sell those for up to $49 per module, and we've got an order backlog of 235,000 of these modules. We have the Wyld Connect terminal, and we sell that for about $499, $500, and we've got an order backlog of about 4,500 of those terminals. Then there's Wyld Fusion, where we charge our customers a monthly subscription fee to get access to Wyld Fusion. And then the really exciting part is the Wyld Connect data. That's basically what our customers pay us to actually use the network. So that payment is based on up to $5 per module or terminal per month. And we've already got, as I said, 239,500 modules and terminals in order backlog. And once they're fully deployed and deployed into the field, each one of those will generate up to $5 per month. So that's over $1 million per month just on the current order backlog we have at the moment. And based on that current order backlog we have at the moment, that's sufficient to take us cash flow positive. But as I said, we will start to see those modules and terminals deployed out into the field. We've already deployed them into the field, and we'll continue to deploy those modules and terminals out into the field. So it's rather like a mobile network where you pay a one-off fee for your phone, which is like our module and terminal, and then every month you pay your operator a certain monthly fee to use the network. Our revenue module is exactly the same, and it's that monthly fee that you pay to the operator, which is they pay to us, is where we get our reoccurring revenues from. So if we just look at some of the use cases, as you can imagine, the majority of our use cases are in areas in that 85% of the world's surface where there's no internet access. So that's agriculture, that's energy, utilities, logistics, the environment. There are literally thousands of use cases and requirements for our solution. And I'm just going to take you through a few of them. Here's one with Trevia. This is a company in Brazil. They're in forestry protection, and there's over 500 million hectares of forest in Brazil. And traditionally in forestry, trees are felled in an arbitrary manner. So there's a huge amount of waste. So they've developed a sensor that basically looks at the girth of the tree, the amount of moisture that's in that tree, and we embed our solution into their sensor, send data via satellite, they collect that data, and from that data they can understand when they should start to fell trees, so they can reduce the amount of waste in forestry. And forestry is a huge market. You know, the global market's set to grow to, well, I think currently at the moment it's about $322 billion. So it's a massive market, and we reduce the amount of waste, which is massive. If we take Bayer, pollination control, so 30% of all the food that we generate is actually created through pollination. So bees and insects are incredibly important to our complete ecosystem. So together with Bayer are basically using Wyld networks to look at the health of beehives. Obviously, most of those beehives are in locations where there's no access to the internet, so they need satellite connectivity. And it's all about how do we ensure bee health to ensure that we can actually increase the yield of crop. And just looking at the US alone, bees are responsible for about $15 billion every year in crop, and that's just in the US alone. Another case study, this one's in South Africa. So 70% of all fresh water is used in agriculture. That's massive. 30% of that is wasted by over-irrigation. So companies deploy soil moisture sensors to optimize the irrigation. And we can actually demonstrate by using our solution connected to soil moisture sensors that we can reduce the waste of water by over 50% and increase the yield of crop by over 15%. And there's an example of a soil moisture sensor using our solution in a macadamia farm. It's a relatively small farm, but there's a soil moisture sensor connected to a terminal sending data to satellite. There's another picture of the farm itself. As I say, it's relatively small, but there are literally millions of farms that are looking to deploy soil moisture sensors. If I give you another example, it's an example in Brazil, where 50% of all energy comes from renewables. So a customer called IMAE is basically using our technology. It's embedded into the next generation wind turbine sensors, wind turbines, and we collect data from those wind turbines, send them via satellite that allows our customer to optimize the amount of power he's generating from his wind turbines. As I say, there are literally thousands of use cases out there, and we're really just giving you an example of just a few use cases where we have current customers. But I also talked about what's new, and I talked about Wyld Fusion as a standalone platform. You know, we developed Wyld Fusion as our device management and device provisioning platform, mainly because we couldn't find a third-party platform, so we developed it ourselves. And when we developed Wyld Fusion, we developed it as both a terrestrial IoT platform and a satellite IoT platform. So it combines satellite and terrestrial connectivity. We use it ourselves as part of our own solution, obviously, but also we launched Wyld Fusion as a standalone platform this year. So we're engaged with customers now that want to use our platform to basically connect their terrestrial IoT devices and then move forward to their satellite IoT devices, so they have one platform for both their satellite IoT connectivity and their terrestrial IoT connectivity. And just to give you an idea of what the platform looks like, as I said, we use it for our own network, but we're also now launched it, and we have customers that are looking to migrate their terrestrial IoT devices onto Wyld Fusion. But it's a multi-sensor, multi-device vendor support. It supports multiple operators, whether it's a terrestrial operator or different satellite operators. It's totally geared towards supporting multiple terrestrial and multiple satellite operators. It's really built around security, scalability, provisioning. It has the subscription and payment platform built into it, and we have some business intelligence built into the platform. But what's really critical about this is that when we developed it for both terrestrial and satellite connectivity. So it is an IoT platform. And when you look at the IoT platform market, it's pretty massive. You know, it's forecasted to grow to over $17 billion by 2028. And as I said, we developed this product because we couldn't find a third-party terrestrial and satellite IoT platform. In the market, you get terrestrial IoT platforms. Siemens make them, PTC, SAP, IBM, Microsoft, all have terrestrial IoT platforms, but there's no one out there that's actually developed a combined satellite and terrestrial IoT platform. So we made the decision about a month ago to, yes, we use Wyld Fusion as part of our existing business, but we're also launching Wyld Fusion. I've already launched it into the market as a standalone IoT platform. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to some questions from Mats.
Thank you very much, Alastair. I think we start off with Starlink.
Yes.
Actually, because I think, so people understand, Starlink, I mean, the Elon Musk project,
yes.
That's a possible partner for you, right? Not a competitor? Or could you elaborate a little bit? Just
They're not a competitor. So just to elaborate, Elon Musk, obviously has launched through SpaceX his Starlink program, which is basically a satellite-based solution to provide broadband connectivity to people. Yeah. So high bandwidth broadband connectivity for people. Obviously, he's targeting that 85% of the world's surface where there's no internet access. But obviously, what we're doing is we're looking at the Internet of Things business and targeting the IoT business. So we're working with him to basically look how we can support him in putting together a combined satellite IoT solution. So it's pretty exciting. We're not competing, we're actually working with him to develop that.
Yeah, I understand. If we look going forward, you said that you will be cash flow positive when you have installed everything, right?
Yes.
And then everyone, of course, wants to know
when.
Yeah, exactly. How fast can you actually roll out all these on your order book?
Yeah, we've already started. So we've got production facilities in India, we've got production facilities in the Philippines, and we have some production facility in the UK. So, as I said a bit earlier, we really spent the last few months focusing on getting the quality, production, but more importantly, the tools that will help our customers deploy this kit into the field. And that's pretty critical because if you remember the old days when you used to buy a computer, it would take you a huge amount of time to basically load the software, get it working. A day later, you might have it up and running. That's not what customers want. They want to be able to just press one button and the whole thing starts up, it works out of the box. So we've put a huge amount of effort into that. But to be clear, the current order backlog does take us cash flow positive, but a lot of that depends on our customers rapidly deploying that into the field because we need to get the data revenue from those customers. Yeah. So in as much as we can shift the product, they also need to be able to get that product into the field, into the sensors and sending data. Yeah. But we are building and we are shipping.
Yeah, okay. You do your part, right?
I'll do my part.
When it comes to install these terminals and so on, is it difficult for your clients, or how do you support? Are you just a tech company, or do you also need? I mean, obviously you sell your product on a global scale, yes. So I guess it's difficult to have like customer service around the clock.
we do have customer service, but as I was saying a bit earlier. We've spent a lot of effort over the last few months. And that's our focus has been on developing software scripts to configure and install the product in the field. We want to make it as easy as possible because we don't want to spend our efforts helping our customers to deploy. So we've built a lot of software tools and hardware tools to allow them to deploy. There's two products. There's the module, which requires more work because it's actually integrated into the sensor. So it requires some engineering support from us to allow our customers to integrate it into the sensors. Whereas the terminal sits outside of the sensor and is just connected either wirelessly or by wire to the sensor. And that's a lot easier for our customers to deploy into the network.
Okay. I mean, it was quite some time ago you launched your products, right? Yep. On a big scale. What kind of feedback have you received yet?
Well, it's incredibly positive. Yeah. The feedback's been incredible. In actual fact, the feedback has led us to start to develop more product in different frequency bands. So as you know, when we launched in the ISM band, which is basically the free-to-use spectrum. And we've now basically, based on feedback, we've got customers that are saying, we'd like to use Wyld in different use cases, but we need a greater amount of bandwidth. So we've actually moved to the S-band, so we support ISM band and now S-band. And clearly, what we're trying to do is to increase the number of use cases we can support. And so we'll continue to develop product in different frequency bands to support potentially higher data rates. In the S-band space, we can support data rates 100 times greater than in the ISM band, but it's for different use cases. So the feedback we've been getting is brilliant. First of all, they've never had a combined terrestrial and satellite IoT platform, which is creating a new business for us. And secondly, they're looking at us to develop existing product, but put it into different frequency to be able to deliver greater bandwidth. Okay.
Another question, when it comes to, you showed your different customer section. You have quite a few sectors that you can actually sell to, right? Mm-hmm. How do you actually reach your different clients? I mean, you have like forest companies, agriculture companies, a lot of different type of clients.
So we have in certain countries basically put distributors or system integrators in place. So these are companies that basically focus on specific markets. So, we've got a reseller in Peru that focuses on the energy sector. Yeah. So they're basically taking our product, building a network and selling that solution to their customers, and their focus is on the energy sector in Peru. Then we've got companies in Brazil we're working with that focus on agriculture. We also focus ourselves on some of the larger customers and go direct. But it really is about building that network of companies, system integrators, resellers, and end users to go into each different vertical. Agriculture has been very, very successful for us, and we've just focused on Latin America mainly, a bit in Africa and a bit in Australia. Oil and gas has been very successful for us. The utilities is successful for us as well. And we're now starting to move into the supply chain logistics piece, which is a bit more complicated because your sensor's moving. It's on a boat. It's it's moving rather than it being static. But that's the next vertical we're going to go into, which is really about supply chain management, how to collect data from assets that are actually moving from farm to fork, basically. Okay, and that's everything that is moving, right? Yeah, livestock tracking. We've got business once again in Latin America to track beef cattle. Simply the fact they don't know where they are, and if they want to be able to sell that beef into the European Union, they have to provide data to the European Union to show the provenance of that beef, where it's come from. Has it encroached upon the rainforest? No, hopefully not. How healthy is it? So all these companies now, particularly on livestock, have to provide information to the EU to demonstrate the provenance of their goods before it can be imported into the European Union. The same applies in the United States. Okay, but that sounds like quite a big market. How about competition in this area? What kind of competitors do you actually meet in the market? Yeah, there are competitors, but I think the key thing about what we've done in Wyld is we've created an affordable solution, particularly in the ISM band, which is free to use spectrum, so you don't have to pay for the frequency, which makes our solution very, very affordable. Because if you take the livestock tracking business case, they have to look at the return on investment on each cattle to be able to pay for the satellite connectivity. So our real USP is about providing our customers with an affordable solution that allows them to generate a return on investment. Okay.
Alastair, we don't have time for more questions. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Pleasure.
We need to move on.